Hello and welcome to my NPL Week 4-3 game against Philadelphia Aberforth Shuckleking, and yeah, this was a pretty enjoyable game. I hope you guys enjoy it. I was Tailglow, Scold, Zed, Twinkle, Tackle, Dazzling Gleam, Manaphy, with Rain Dance to get rid of any status. Celebi was Psychic, Recover, Stealth Rocks, and Baton Pass. Togekiss was Trick, Scarf, Air Slash, and I think I had Flamethrower and maybe Thunderbolt as coverage. Charizard was a bit of a bulkier Dragon Dancing set. It had full HP, but it was intended to be a Dragon Dance sweeper with Dragon Claw and Roost as its attacking moves. Donphan is Rapid Spin, Earthquake, Ice Shard, and Knockoff. No, not Knockoff. I had double rocks on this build just to try and make sure that I could keep up rocks at all times. It was initially a knockoff one with an Assault Vest, however I changed it in the end because I thought there's potential for Celebi to go down early game and me not get rocks, and I'd be annoyed at that. And Zeraora is Sub, Bulk Up, Plasma Fists, and Knockoff. So yeah, that's my team. He brought Landorus, Incarnate, Alolan Muck, Vaporeon, Megalopony, Azelf, and the Miltank. There are a few Pokemon I was quite surprised to not see in this matchup, in particular Hydreigon. I really did think that Hydreigon was a big thing for his team against me. Looking at it now, I still think it was a good Pokemon to bring, but maybe I overthought about it in terms of the impact it would have compared to other things on his team. But yeah, overall a very threatening build, and I'm looking at this matchup and I'm thinking Scarf Togekiss does not have a bad matchup to start this whole thing off, and if I can cripple a Muck or a Miltank by giving them choice Scarfs, that's pretty much perfect. So I go out into my Togekiss to start off with as he goes out into Miltank, and I just choose a Scarf, Trick Scarf. I don't want this Miltank alive, basically. It's one of the few things that's stopping my Charizard from just clean sweeping along with the Vaporeon. All I really need is one turn of setup against the Lopunny or an Azelf locked into a bad move or something. As I go for Baton Pass after setting up my rocks and the Muck switch in, letting me go out into my Donphan, I avoid the Poison Touch, which is nice. And I'll just throw out an Earthquake just to scout out, see how defensive this Vaporeon is. It's quite defensive based on that damage, as I can go right into my Celebi and just Baton Pass. I was fine with him protecting and wishing himself back up to full because I do have Zeraora. However, I didn't want to freely allow him to restore his Muck and get rid of the Stealth Rock damage it would have to take on switching. So yeah, I just go for Sub first, just seeing if he's going to switch out or not, and then just go for Plasma Fists a couple times. After the first Plasma Fists, he was now in range to the point where he couldn't even come in on Donphan, let alone stop Charizard, so I knew he wasn't going to switch out or anything, so I was confident that he wouldn't go into Landorus, and Knockoff was not a guaranteed kill from that range, or I would have gone for it. On top of that, Menace being this low is a bit of a shame because it's a lot harder to get it to do what I want it to do now that it can't take a single quick attack or fake out from Lopunny effectively. Scarf Azelf will outspeed it, Shadow Sneaking Muck will be a threat to it. I can't knock out Landorus from full anyway, and the Miltank is now Scarf. I don't expect Miltank to be able to outspeed me, but it's the least useful Pokemon on his team, and it's also no longer in the situation where it was important for him to keep it alive, because I'm pretty much guaranteed to keep rocks off and everything. So I felt very much at this point that my Zeraora was pretty useless, so when Azelf comes in, I decide just to make sure that it is in fact Scarf by sacking off my Menace. And I see it is Scarf. I want to scout out to see how much damage my Charizard takes from the Psychic, see if I can potentially set up. So I do just go for Roost. I also want to make sure that I'm Mega Evolved in case he does get rocks up with his Landorus later on in the game. But I do just go out into my Celebi here, and it's a very obvious switch into Muck, so I do just Baton Pass right into my Donphan. Perhaps I should have gone out into Charizard there, put a bit more offensive pressure on his team, but I wasn't confident in knocking out Muck, especially from that range, and I didn't want to play my hand too early and set up too early. So I do just go out into Togekiss this turn. I knew that the Scarf's Elf would not come without some way of hitting Celebi hard. It's too obvious of a Pokemon to not do it, and U-turn is such a good move anyway that I knew that he would bring that. And Togekiss can just absorb U-turn for days. I don't want to take a fake out here because the poison might actually be important in terms of keeping it off of my Togekiss's health, just so that I can continually switch in and do what I need to do with it. I do just recover here. I don't want Celebi going down, it's my best way of dealing with the Lopunny. I do go for a Psychic on the off chance he decides to stay in. I did expect him to switch into Muck, but I didn't want to Baton Pass and just take the damage for no good reason. He does Poison Jab me and poison me on my Donphan. Nothing I can really do about that. I do just go for Earthquake here. I go for Rapid Spin, just thinking that he's going to go for Rocks and not wanting to let them up. But here I misplay and go for Rapid Spin again. I should have Earthquaked first and then gone for Rapid Spin. It might seem like a silly distinction, but I was going to die this turn anyway, I already knew that. And Rapid Spinning instead of Earthquaking just was a complete waste of a turn. If he got Rocks up and I Earthquaked, he'd have to switch out anyway, and I could just spin anyway. And given that I was slower and he was locked into Rocks, I was guaranteed keeping them off anyway. So I do just go out into my Charizard here and decide to kill off the Azelf, just because it's being a bit of a threat to me. And here, this is just a case of me messing up my prediction. Because of the fact that I'd gone into Togekiss a couple times on the Azelf, I thought he's probably going to try and get a bit of momentum on me here. Either go for U-turn just as a safe play, and then go out into Miltank to sack it off, or he's going to go for Sludge Wave and try and knock out my Togekiss. I need to stop predicting, man. Yeah, he does just go for the Earth Power and straight up knocks out my Charizard. I'm not going to pretend that was anything other than a bit of a joke on my part, because I intended to just knock it out thinking that he was going to Sludge Wave, and I could live a Sludge Wave from that point on. I believe with the investment I had, I was very bulky Charizard, and yeah, just completely wrong. But saying that, I do get to go out into my Togekiss here, and he does flee into his Miltank, which does not take a single Air Slash, of course. Togekiss is a strong Pokemon. He goes out into his Muck here, and I just start Air Slashing. I see that he's Papa Berry. At this point, I had actually been under the assumption that he had been a... I was thinking he was an Assault Vest Muck. Papa Berry is much worse for me than Assault Vest, because I hadn't hit him with a special attack at this point. I was very much thinking he was going to be Assault Vest and that I would be able to wear him down over time. Papa's a lot worse because of Recycle, meaning that Muck is not necessarily going to... not all damage is permanent with it. And so Celebi always has a 100% counter. So I just Air Slash a couple times. I do get quite lucky with my Air Slashes. It does flinch him down quite a bit, and he's down at 25%, meaning he can't even switch in on Manaphy anymore. But he does go into Landorus here on the Air Slash, and he's just going to kill off my Togekiss with a Rock Slide here. I do get to go out into my Manaphy though. I obviously can't take more than one Earth Power, so I just go for the Scald and knock it out. And here it's a case of just a series of 50-50s. Do I go for a Scald on the Muck switch? Do I go for Celebi on the Frustration? I got it wrong there. He got it right. I Baton Passed into Manaphy, knowing that no one single move from Muck could kill me. And at this point I decided to go for Scald instead of my Zed Fairy move. I was keeping the Zed Fairy move for a nuke, and I thought that Scald might be able to burn Lopunny anyway. He does go out into Lopunny in Frustration, and here he goes for Frustration again as I go for Baton Pass. I thought he was going to repeat the whole cycle one more time and go out into Muck, and then go from Muck into Lopunny to Frustration again. But yeah, just fair play. That was genuinely one of the most enjoyable games of Pokemon I played in about 2 years at this point. It was genuinely so much more fun than normal for me. A very back and forth game. I got the advantage a couple of times, but he was able to snatch it back from me and played really, really well in that end game. So 100% fair play. Well played, Shuckleking. Go and check him out. His link is in the description below, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.